You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Asking me lovingly to come and follow you. Here I am. Did I hear you call my name? Here I am, as you wish.
Good morning. This is Sister Lavina Francis Pamet. I'm a Franciscan Sister of the Sacred Heart, and I'm here talking about vocation ministries and putting a highlight on the discernment of those who are seeking to respond to God's call. And today I am also going to interview the author of a very useful and I think practical book for discerners at last. We've got this book called Feels Like Home, A Single Catholic Woman's Guide to Religious Life in the United States. And my guest today is no other than the author, Susan Flansburgh. And we welcome her today. Susan, thank you so much for being my guest for Dare to Love. And so, Susan, I just kind of wanted to give you a little background on how Dare to Love came about. Is Dare to Love was, I didn't even name the show. It was from one of the religious sisters that used to co-host when I was invited by the radio TV crew to be one of the hosts for a vocation ministry show. And she called it Dare to Love because love really is the main reason. God calls us out of love by name, and so we respond because by name we become aware of, I guess, part of our self-identification is realizing who we are and in relationship with whose we are, which is God. And this is what this book is all about. So I just wanted to provide a background on who Susan is. This is what I've gotten, like Googling Susan. It's really very interesting. And of course, Susan, you will be telling us a little bit more. So Susan, you have worked with Catholic sisters for 20 years and counting. I mean, that was official, but then you continue to really have connections. And your expertise is communications and especially vocation and vocation ministry because now it's in your blood. And so now you're doing a lot of writing, and this is so exciting because this book is so useful to us and very practical. And I've read some of it, and so I'm so just excited. And not only have you worked as communications in communications ministry and in vocations, but your article, An Apostolic Love Story with a Twist, first published in Vision, and I think while you were writing the book, it was one of the important kind of key point articles. It won at the 2022 Best Feature Article Division of Catholic Media Association's annual award competition. So congratulations, and I'm just so excited to have you as a guest, Susan. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Sister Lavina. This is just lovely to be able to get some of the word out about the book. So thank you.
So let's get on with this book, and I was looking for this because I'm like, well, where is it? Usually I get like books digitally, and I couldn't find it. And then finally, the Holy Spirit led me yesterday, and I did order it. I just haven't gotten to it because it wasn't at home. I had it like packed, and then when I unpacked one of the bags that finally I got a chance to, I found this. So I got a chance to leaf through it, and we will delve into this. So first of all, why write Feels Like Home, and how did that come about?
In my experience as a communications director for the Benedictine sisters of St. Mary Monastery in Rock Island, Illinois. The women who came as inquirers almost never knew anything about other types of communities. So we have apostolic, we have monastic, we have a cloistered, oftentimes habited monastic, habited apostolic, and missionary. All can exist, of course. And then missionary sisters, they had no idea that these types of communities were even available to them. So it just unfolded over time that I became a cheerleader for providing that kind of information. We did it through retreats, and I did a lot of writing about it. My community was monastic, so I spent a lot of time, obviously, talking about them when I was working with and for them. But I also am affiliated with other groups outside of individual communities, and so I grew to have an awareness of and a good understanding of other types of communities. And that's why this book was born. There isn't anything that actually shares this kind of information.
So at first, you were doing this really for yourself and from your experience. And then you thought, well, now that I'm discovering some of these things that people don't usually know, especially for discerners. So is that why you wrote this book? Is this mainly for discerners then?
The end user is going to be a discerner for sure, but she's only going to get her hands on it through a vocation director or a parish or a campus ministry venue, or even a director of religious education, a retreat. She might find a book at a retreat. So it's got to be sold through those avenues. I have to appeal to those groups in order to get it to the discerner for whom it's intended. Yeah.
Right. So, this pretty much would amount to becoming, well, you said a guidebook, right? This would be a guide.
Correct.
And probably, you know how everything is virtual now and everything you can get online. Now, this one would also be available in someone's hands who might be feeling the call to explore what their vocation is in life, or whether to even have a religious life as a nun, as a sister, as a missionary religious, especially if they have absolutely no idea how to go about it. Now, they could look online, they could go to Vision. However, this one is more than that. Is that right? Because it pretty much, I guess, it tells a story, doesn't it?
It tells a lot of stories. Each section, and I know you're going to want to talk about the book in more detail a little later, but each section is headed by a story like the one you referenced from Vision magazine, that helps a woman understand and explore what the type of life is that she's looking at. So if she's just coming online, she's just starting to think, oh, am I being called to be a sister? This book helps her understand the different types of religious life that she might explore. And so the section on apostolic sisters, which would include your own community, Franciscan community, as well as lots and lots, the majority of communities in the U.S. are apostolic, which means that sisters go out for their ministries, basically. And the story that I begin with is of a Dominican sister who heard the call and went through a very, what the magazine called a zigzagging path to the convent, because she almost got married. And she stopped discerning and then restarted discerning. She's a very happy and vigorous sister today. And in fact, all of the big stories, the longer stories, there's one that explores cloistered life. There's one that explores missionary life, and there's one that explores monastic life. And each one is with a fairly newly professed sister. So these are young women. They are not our elders, as much wisdom as the elders have. This is more focused on younger women. The cloistered woman that I interviewed for the story was, I think she was 26 at the time. So quite young.
Right. And so I guess, I probably should also mention that ever since this was published this year, reviews have come out. So in particular, and in fact, the first time that I heard it, and that's when I bought the book, was because of also a Dominican, Sister Beth Murphy, who is serving as the communications director for her community, the Springfield Dominicans. And it so happens that one of her sisters, Sister Denise Glasik, is part of the Chicago